President Trump says the U.S. is open to joining talks with North and South Korea at the appropriate time, saying it would be a win for humanity if something comes out of Tuesday's planned meeting.
If we can come up with a very peaceful and very good solution, we're working on it with Rex, we're working on it with a lot of people. If something can happen and something can come out of those talks, that would be a great thing for all of humanity.
Let's go straight to Washington now, and Bloomberg editor Roz Krasny joining us. Roz, good to see you. So we've gone from hamburger diplomacy to my nuclear button is bigger than yours to now this. Are we hearing a softening of tone coming up from President Trump towards Pyongyang?
Well, it could be a softening of tone. We don't know if he'll follow through on this idea that he had on Saturday. But, you know, it's interesting how sports really brings everybody in the world together at times. And the talks that are expected this week between North and South Korea are centered on the Winter Olympic Games coming up in South Korea and whether North Korea could send a team. So a little bit of a thawing in relation there. Of course, the South Korean leader has made, better relations with his northern neighbor part of his platform. I think it'll be interesting to see if those talks go ahead and President Trump can be made to feel that he's sort of part of it, that he was an instigator more than somehow being left on the sidelines. So I don't know that anything will happen imminently. And certainly Nikki Haley, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, kind of kept to the same line she's had for a while, or the U.S. has had for a while, that there really has to be progress by North Korea to cut back or abandon its nuclear program. And most people think that's probably a non-starter.
Indeed. Roz, I want to get back to some of the domestic issues, though. I mean, you know, we've heard President Trump promise fire and fury against the North Korean leader, but he's, of course, facing that fire and fury as well from Michael Wolff's book. And over the weekend, we heard lots of his team members come out on television defending him, including Nikki Haley. And I want to just play for you part of her comments supporting the president.
I don't know if it was 200 interviews with Steve Bannon or if it was 200 interviews with himself, but I can tell you, I know these people. I work with these people. I work with the president and speak with him multiple times a week. This is a man, he didn't become the president by accident.
So who believes who? Who's more accurate here?
Well, it definitely seems like the author Michael Wolff had access to the West Wing during the first months of the Trump administration, was kind of in there, as he said himself on NBC. He was in there and tried to stay as long as he could before, potentially getting kicked out, and that really some of the aides to President Trump may have been advised or on orders to talk to him, that he was writing a book and would be somebody that they could give their views to. And of course, it's all gone a bit haywire. As you say, some of Trump's best and most credible allies came out today to defend him. We heard from Mike Pompeo, who's the CIA director, and he's very rarely in public talking about the president or talking about anything, really. So he talked about how President Trump is very engaged on the daily security briefing, asked good questions. I think maybe the White House thinks that by putting these kind of men and women out there, it can diffuse the situation a little bit and buy themselves some time to refocus on their agenda, refocus on jobs and the economy and the impact of the recent tax cuts.